Hello Edinburgh, and hello to everyone who's at our events happening simultaneously in Orkney and Dumfries and in Aberdeen, and also other events in Stirling and Inverness, and to everybody at home watching this rally and outside broadcast. Now, I want to start by saying that we've got to understand that 10 years ago, Scotland gave one last chance to the Union. But boy, did they mess that up. They've messed it up so completely that the powers that be are actually terrified of a second independence referendum, because they have come to understand what we already know, and that is if there was another referendum, we would not lose again. Let's be clear, this broken union is actually being held together only by an unhealthy disrespect for democracy by Westminster. That's also an unhealthy disrespect of the people of Scotland, who in a poll this week said they wanted a second independence referendum. Now, 10 years ago tonight, I was at the Count in Glasgow, and every ward in Glasgow was turning yes, and I started to think maybe it's going to happen. But as the Chief Executive Business for Scotland, the Pro-Independence Business Network, who I will proudly tell you is the most active and the biggest spending registered campaign group on either side of the campaign, I had people in every single county across Scotland, and the news coming in wasn't so good from elsewhere. Other than Dundee, of course, and a few other places. When the final result was announced, I decided, I was scunnered, and I guess you all were too. So I decided to walk home. Now I live a long way from the Emirates Arena, so it took me 4.5 hours, maybe even 5 hours to walk home, and trust me, I was not wearing walking shoes. So when I finally got home, around about 6 o'clock in the morning, I poured myself a double whiskey. It might have been a quadruple. I took my socks and shoes off, and I looked at my blistered and bleeding feet, and I started smiling, started laughing. And I shouted at the top of my voice, woke the whole house up. I shouted, "This is not over!" And I hadn't intended to dedicate my life to independence, but that was the moment I realised that I was not going to stop until we were independent, and I know that every one of you feels exactly the same way. To those of you who campaigned, who came together in this Yes family that we created in 2014, for those of you that have campaigned for the decades since, and who campaigned for the decades beforehand to build that platform, I salute you. You're the real heroes of the independence movement. And for those of you that are new to our cause, a very, very warm welcome. Now, some of you may be feeling scunnered again after the last general election result, but I want to say that we need to pick ourselves up, dust ourselves off, and get ready to redouble our efforts. And we need to get our independence movement back to how it was in 2014. We need to bring the Yes family back together. We need to put aside our differences and campaign as one. And if we do that, we will create an unstoppable tide that will wash away all the barriers to independence. We don't need a referendum though. That's one of the things we've got to realise now. There has been a focus on having a referendum. What we need is a new national conversation like we had in 2014, an enlightening situation where we're out there talking to people about their hopes and dreams to build a better Scotland. That's what moved the polls, not the politics, not the politicians, not the TV debates. It was the conversation that was happening all across Scotland, the dinner table in the pub, at the water cooler at work. We can have that conversation again. I believe in Scotland has actually created a plan to get that conversation going, a new national conversation, and it's called the Citizens' Convention. The plan, thank you for your applause there, the plan, first time an actual detailed policy paper about independence has actually got a round of applause. This plan is to take the best ideas from around the world, from experts and governments around the world, as to how to develop a nation that's fit for this century, to face the challenges of this century. And then we take that on the road, a roadshow around Scotland, take it to the Scottish people, and we ask them what they want. We capture the hopes and dreams, their aspirations for a better Scotland. And once we have those hopes and dreams, we put them in a manifesto, and we say to the UK government, can you deliver the type of nation that the people of Scotland want? And when they say no, and when it is clear that they don't even want to try, that's when the people of Scotland will come to independence in their droves, because they realise that the nation they want to create can only be created through independence. That's one of the three foundation stones upon which we can build a new movement towards independence. The second foundation stone is a creative, progressive, well-funded and professional national grassroots-led campaign that goes out and evangelises and takes the campaign to the people and talks not to ourselves on social media, but talks to the undecided, and Believe in Scotland is that campaign. The third foundation is a professional, competent, election-winning political arm of the campaign. And I guess there's some work to be done on that right now. But if we can actually get all three of these foundation stones in place, we can really push independence support into the 50s, maybe even into the 60s. What the government needs to do, what the Scottish government needs to do, is it needs to put independence at the heart of all of its policies. Whenever they complain about cuts from Westminster, they need to point out that this would not be happening if we were independent. Every time they say, this is how we think we address things like pensioner poverty, like child poverty, they have to point out that this is how we would do things differently in an independent Scotland. Put it at the top of the agenda, and then independence will rise up the agenda of the Scottish people. So tonight I issue a challenge to the Scottish Government. Fund the Citizens' Convention. Get Scotland talking again about how good independence could be, and put us back on the road to nationhood. Now, we've been pivoting our campaign for a year and a bit now away from party politics, away from policy discussions and debates, towards creativity, towards Scotland's culture, towards having more fun, towards being how it was in 2014 when we actually enjoyed campaigning. And that's what made more people turn up. And that's what made the polls move. Earlier this year we piloted an event called Creating Scotland, and we got comedians and singers, we got playwrights and young actors, we got authors and musicians, and had a great day of Scottish culture. No politics, but what we did was we talked about how we could build a better Scotland. We asked people to write in a bit of paper, just like we have in our wish trees over there. Please go to the wish trees, create a wish. We say to people, so the independent supporters at these events, we say, tell us why you believe in Scotland, and pin that to the wish tree. To the undecided, we say, if you had a magic wand, what's the one thing you would change about Scotland? And believe me, the things they want to change about Scotland cannot be delivered by the Union. It can only be delivered by independence, but they don't realise that until they actually have that conversation. You're going to see one of the performances from that event later on, a video of that there, and we'll be rolling Creating Scotland events out right across the country in 2025. In terms of getting the Yes family back together, I want to say right now that I am issuing another challenge. No, not another challenge. I am offering the hand of friendship on behalf of Believe in Scotland. We want to reach out to everyone, every think tank, every Yes group, every political party across the nation, and say, we want to work with you. We want to get together again so we can come together with one goal, and that is delivering independence. Let's put aside all that's happened. Let's put aside the turf wars. Let's put aside all the slights, imagined or real, and let's actually say, what's our shared goal? What are our shared values? And let's make it happen. And people been doing some TV and radio interviews just beforehand there, and they keep on saying, so do you expect there to be a referendum? No, I don't, because they know they're going to lose if they give us another referendum. But what we can do is, if we get independent support moving, if this national conversation moves independent support in the right direction, then our de facto win at Holyrood 26 is still on the cards if everybody starts working now. I want to end with this one thought, this key question. And that is, this is not a wake, it's not a celebration. I hope it's a new beginning. But we lost. The other side won. Where are their celebrations? Where are their grassroots? Where are their marches and rallies for no? Why aren't they celebrating the ongoing austerity? Why aren't they celebrating taking away the pensioners' fuel allowance? Why aren't they celebrating taking away their free BBC licences? Why aren't they celebrating a totally unavoidable cost of living crisis that sent hundreds of thousands of families across the UK to food banks? Why aren't they celebrating our mortgages costing more? And most of all, why are they not celebrating Brexit? And all the jobs and the hundreds of millions of pounds of exports that have been lost because of it, and all the revenues associated with that, which would actually allow us not to live under this Labour austerity government. So my message to you tonight is, don't be disheartened. Be proud of who you are. Be proud that you've come here tonight. Be proud that you're gathering elsewhere around Scotland or watching on the live feed. Be proud of your belief and the fact that you keep on keeping on and campaigning for independence. But most of all, be proud of the knowledge that you are going to be a key factor in delivering Scotland back to its natural state as an independent nation. Thank you very much.